Dick Cheney endorsed Kamala Harris. Not to be outdone, the Republicans gained one, or they at least gained a Dem exeter, because Alan Dershowitz has made it official after the Democratic convention that he's out, and intimates pretty strongly that he's Team Trump now.
No fine people at the debate, at the standing outside of the convention center and screaming, Hamas will win, screaming, we are all Hamas, screaming, there was nothing wrong with October 7th. What's wrong with October 7th? Somebody said. No, there aren't fine people, and they don't make fine points. And so I was disgusted at the Democratic National Convention. Absolutely disgusted.
Okay, those people who you're talking about, by the way, were not allowed within a mile of the convention. Yes. Now, the people inside the convention, and I do not concede that that was the character of the marches. Russell was at the marches. But even if you think that is the character of the marches, they were kept very far away from the DNC. The people inside the DNC...
Like, literally, when you say they didn't let them within a mile of it, that's pretty much the literal case.
Yeah. That's probably playing it safe. There's probably more than a mile.
Dude, I covered 3 days of marches. I was never any closer to that convention center than, there was that bend where you would turn. That was the only time you really saw it on the march route. It was at least 3/4 of a mile away.
Yeah, no, very far. Now, as for inside the convention, as for the actual convention, here's his issue.
We're speaking with Harvard Law Professor Emeritus Alan Avi Dershowitz. So are you ready to leave the Democratic Party?
Democratic Party. I am no longer a Democrat. I am an independent. I'll decide who to vote for at the last minute based on totality of the circumstances. I want to see how they deal with Iran. I want to see how they deal if Iran attacks the United States. I want to encourage the current administration to support Israel. So I'm not revealing my vote until, maybe November 1st. Great to hear all the information, all the evidence, but I am no longer a member of the Democratic Party.
When did you resign the Democratic Party?
Well, gradually over time. I think a lot of things pushed me in that direction. Kamala Harris's failure to comply with her constitutional obligation to preside over the Senate and the House joint sessions for Netanyahu pushed me a lot over that. And what Joe Biden said pushed me over that. But I think the thing that really pushed me is how the Democrats conducted their convention. I cannot be associated with a party that features as its speakers.
Feature as its speakers who? Because remember, no Palestinians were allowed to speak at the convention. They didn't even let the uncommitted people endorse Kamala Harris at the convention. The uncommitted were going to basically fold. They were basically going to give in. They were basically going to go up there and pretend that Kamala Harris was serious about pursuing a ceasefire, and they would not let them do that. So what do you mean? I couldn't believe they platformed. We'll let you finish in a second. Do you have anything to add before that?
Does he understand that the nature of protest is to be against? Does he understand that the protesters were protesting against the Democratic Party?
No, but this is what's so weird about this, Russell. He's not even talking about the protesters now. He's talking about
he means
who
inside?
Yeah, he's talking about who spoke. Yeah, this is what he's talking about here.
No, before that.
Right. No, before that, yes. He was talking about the people protesting outside who are a mile away.
Why would you complain?
Why would you complain about that?
Even so, they're protesting against it.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So they don't represent it. They're against it.
Right.
So if you don't like them, shouldn't be a problem, right? I mean, that should be an argument for the Democrats.
Oh, of course.
That these people that you don't like are against them.
Right. No, it's just absolute nonsense. But this gets even worse.
To comply with their constitutional obligation to preside over the Senate and the House joint sessions for Netanyahu pushed me a lot over that. And what Joe Biden said pushed me over that. But I think the thing that really pushed me is how the Democrats conducted their convention. I cannot be associated with a party that features as its speakers AOC, Sharpton, Liz Warren, and Bernie Sanders. That's not my party.
Thank you for watching.
All those people you just mentioned are absolute pushovers. Absolute pushovers. I thought he was going to say, I can't be a party to, you know, a ticket that features Palestinians speak, but no Palestinians were allowed to speak at the convention. So AOC was too much for you. Elizabeth Warren is too much for you. Al Sharpton, who has said next to nothing about this genocide, is too much for you. You remember Al Sharpton was one of the guys that Max Blumenthal ran into backstage. You know, you're a civil rights leader. You don't have anything to say about this. Nothing. They're too much for you. I mean, if they're too much for you, why were you ever a Democrat? But this is how deep this runs. Like, you cross these Israel people, you step an inch out of line, and they just have a hissy fit. That's why at the end of the day, even and look, Dershowitz, you know, it was pretty clear Dershowitz was more sympathetic to Trump than a lot of the like liberal Democrat Zionists were. But even take an extreme case of like one of these Democrat Zionists with extreme Trump derangement syndrome, like a Michael Rappaport. Even a guy like him is basically saying he's going to vote for Trump now. He almost said, what's the woman whose podcast he went on? He gave that hilarious answer. I didn't like Trump because I didn't like his mouth. Yeah, you didn't like his mouth? You thought he cursed too much for you? Mr. Fuck this, fuck that, fuck you, fuck. Yeah. So he's basically saying he's going to vote for Trump now. Even a guy who was much more hostile to Trump than Dershowitz. But what Dershowitz is saying there makes absolutely zero sense. They kept the protesters a mile away, and they wouldn't let the Palestinians who were there in protest concede their fight and endorse Kamala. Still, no. The whole loaf for nothing at all.
Please clap.